Well, good morning. This morning's reading is taken from Daniel chapter 2. We're reading from verse 28. Your dream and the visions of your head as you lay in bed are these. To you, O king, as you lay in bed, came thoughts of what would be after this. And he who reveals mysteries made known to you what is to be. But as for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because of any wisdom that I have more than all the living, but in order that the interpretation may be made known to the king, and that you may know the thoughts of your mind. We've seen over these past days that Nebuchadnezzar was a dictator, an emperor, a megalomaniac bent on world domination. And we could use that word despot to describe him, a totalitarian ruler. He ruled over vast tracts of land, and even in history we would say he was one of the greatest rulers of earth. But here we discover that Nebuchadnezzar is no more in control of life than you or I are. And God here in his mercy begins to speak to Nebuchadnezzar and to show Nebuchadnezzar his part or his place in the mighty purposes of God that span generations, ages, and nations. And actually, it's a small part. It speaks of the fact that nations will rise and nations will fall, but that there is a king who is coming, whose kingdom will not only outlast them all, but grow and grow and grow and grow to be the greatest kingdom the world has ever seen. It reminds us of that prophetic word from Isaiah. He says, "For unto us a son is born. Unto us a son is given, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be on his shoulders. And of his reign and the increase of his kingdom there will be no end." Jesus is the King of kings, the King of this never-ending, increasing kingdom. It reminds me of the early church who, when they were under pressure not to preach in the name of Jesus, they called out to God in a prayer meeting. They said, "Sovereign Lord." And that word there is this word despot. They recognized that even though the nations pushed back against God's purposes, that God is ultimately in absolute and utter total control. But there's two differences between Jesus and Nebuchadnezzar. The first is that Jesus actually is in full control, past, present, and future. His authority knows no bounds. He's absolutely unstoppable in his purposes. But the second is that he doesn't seek a kingdom for himself in the same way that Nebuchadnezzar did. Jesus is a loving, wonderful, glorious king who lays down his life for us, for you, for me. Comes to serve us rather than to be served. What kind of king does that? He's an amazing God. And so this morning as you come to pray, you'll find yourself in one of two places. You'll either find yourself in his kingdom or outside his kingdom. And Jesus invites us, whichever place we find ourselves in right now, to come and bow before him, to submit our lives to him. Maybe for the first time, maybe for the 10,000th time, to bow before him, to offer him our allegiance, our hearts, control over every aspect of our lives. So this morning as you come to pray, here's the question I want to ask you. What would Jesus ask you for control of today? What is it that he would say, don't try to control that anymore. Give it over to me. Submit it to me. Let me have rulership over it. I'll leave you with that thought to pray, to ponder, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.